Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 35 of the Tiny Disc Podcast, a show about games and life. I'm Robert Scarpanito, and I'm joined here by the bedazzling Jack Cepeda.
Bong bong, everybody. Giant and Shaman, Jack Cepeda here. Nice to meet you.
Fucking what?
Mm-hmm. And the
Giant and Shaman.
The timeless classic Collin Sparling.
I have no idea why they find that so fucking hilarious.
You got me on that Metal Gear kick, so it just like popped up in my head.
The
Guys,
blood flies like the wind.
What would be your Metal Gear operative name?
Oh, dude.
You're in Foxhound.
Gaseous Snake.
The long lost brother. Gone to the wind.
I'd be Trembling Marmot.
Nah, dude, he wasn't gone to the wind. He broke the wind.
Oh, gross.
Yep.
Trembling Marmot?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, I'd probably go with like Shambling Turtle. Either that or Steady Turtle.
It's one of the best
Runs
parts
with
of
river, dances with wolves.
One of the best parts of Metal Gear 5, right, was all the name generations that they made for your base and all that. I love that.
You know,
Game that I still need to play.
While we're talking about Metal Gear Survive, just for all of you out there, I've heard this. If you plan on playing Metal Gear Survive, you get to make a character and you get to choose your name. Definitely write your name in Metal Gear format, because like they show a list of all the characters who've like died in the story in the beginning, and it's like, you know, Shambling Turtle, Punching Raven, and then if you just do like, you know, John Jackson, it's just not gonna fit.
No, yeah. Pro tip.
Yeah, pro tip.
There are so many like Metal Gear name generators out there too. Just Google it.
Yeah, they're pretty great.
Oh, and by the way, you can only have one character in Metal Gear Survive, because if you want an extra save, you have to pay for it.
It's how you survive. You have to survive with that one save.
Yeah, you have to survive with that one save, or else you got to pay 10 smackaroonies to have another one.
Or pay that 10 smackaroonies for food. Up to you. What's better for your survival?
I mean, you can pay them 10 smackaroonies for 10 macaronis.
You have to buy food in that game?
No, in real life.
Oh, yes. Okay. Clearly,
What's more important? The number one at McDonald's or
Gotcha.
an extra save file?
That's garbage.
Welcome to the Delirious Podcast.
Yeah. Hey. Hi.
I think we're all going senile early, you guys.
I mean, we're all exhausted, you know. We've all been working a lot. Jack, you went through an escape room. You're hot off an escape room.
I escaped, guys. I'm here. I'm alive. They didn't keep me locked in. It was fun, man. I was there. It was a team building exercise. About 12 or so of us in this room, and it was called the Playground.
Oh, that's
and
haunting.
Man, it was really actually fun. You know, there might be like horror based ones, right? Like that would actually be pretty scary. But this one was just like a grade school themed thing. And there was a scoreboard like up on the board, and like there were like 12 different puzzles you had an hour to get through. And it was really actually cool. Like as we were solving puzzles and finding things, different like hidden chambers would open up. And like one time this like just hole in the wall like opened up, and you had to like slide down. It was like a really long, deep slide you had to go down.
Huh.
And then you just don't see them anymore until you can open the door. It was intense. So you're like screaming up at each other from the slide.
Was it kind of one of those things where like you let one person go first and they like said, "Wee" on the way down, and then like there's a point where you stop hearing them?
Well, yeah. I mean, there was just so many people there that we just spread out, right? And we're doing different things. And plus you had 12 different puzzles to do. That's like 6 minutes, not even 6 minutes, right? For an hour. Like it's not a lot of time per puzzle. So we had to really hustle. And we did use up all of our hints, and I think we had to ask for one extra hint, but still we were able to finish the game with 30 seconds left on the clock. It was epic.
What kind of hint? Like lifeline? Like let me lifeline,
yeah.
Bob.
It was like there's like TVs on the wall, and like if we asked for a hint, then they would put a hint up on the screen. We had to read it and kind of decipher it.
Gotcha.
So someone's watching you at all times.
Creepy.
Yeah,
Yo.
They're watching you at all times, and if you wanted a hint, everyone in the group had to agree and raise their hand to get a hint, or else they wouldn't do it.
I want to play a game.
Yeah, right.
Play a game.
So, the doors were never locked, though. Like, I mean, the door to just leave, like the first door you walk in to get in there was never locked. But the other doors, like the other chambers to the puzzle room, were locked. But man, it was crazy. You had to do all kinds of crazy stuff. Like there was like a one thing that I remember was there was like a board. It was like a matrix, right? Like a X and Y plane. You get what I'm saying? Like a like a you know how you see those bell curve things and all that. Anyways, each block had like a block there that you had to pull out, and you had to find like all these bean bags everywhere, like all over the place. And the bean bags had 2 numbers on them, their coordinates. And once someone called out all the coordinates and you pull them out of this like matrix, right, it would have an equation in it, like it spelled it like in light with the blocks that you pull out.
What the
and
fuck?
Yeah, and then you had to like solve the equation, and then that was like the code to like one of the padlocks, like on
like solve, you know, like calculus level solve, or like
no, it wasn't that bad. It was very simple, but still, you know, 1 + 2 is an equation technically, but you know what I'm saying. So and then there was like mini golf involved. I don't know, it was really cool. And then, like,
and then there was mini golf. We had to play mini golf to unlock one of the doors.
It was like you had to you had to have teamwork. Like someone had to, I don't know, it's really hard to explain, but you had to have teamwork to get this ball to go down this hole, or else it wouldn't go unless like 3 people were like working together. And then we had to put together this puzzle, and when you put together the puzzle, it had like, there were 2 puzzles, and it had a crossword. Okay, and so you had to like, and then the crosswords on the wall, you had to write in dry erase like the answers to the crossword. You had to solve the crossword, and once you did that, there were like in certain squares of the crossword there were like colored dots, and so and then there was like one red dot, and then this square over here there's 2 red dots. This square over here there's 3 red dots, and then you had to go in order of the red dots to spell out a number, which went into this other thing.
Jesus,
it was it was really intense. It was way harder than I thought it was gonna be, and I was really kind of surprised we made it. But it was cool.
That sounds like those fucking Flash games that I used to play all the time. You guys know what I'm talking about, like Escape the Room or whatever the hell it was. Like,
nah.
Well, it was like these old shitty Flash games where they would just like put you in a room, and it would be like, okay, so like, what you don't know is you actually got to take the handle off the plunger and stick it in the door, and somehow it unlocks the lock. Like, it's fucking like the most random shit. It was ridiculous.
There was one thing where we had to like literally channel an electrical current through our bodies with like 6 people to like turn on this light bulb.
That's cool. That's like
that was
so
crazy.
cool though.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like we had to like chain it over to light this light bulb. So I don't know. It was really super cool. I'm kind of giving away a little bit of the solutions, but it's the first time I ever did it. We made it. I just am so glad we made it, because I would have been so full of shame if we did.
Would you?
Because we were so close.
Would you do it again?
No, well, obviously not that one.
Well, yeah,
that'd be too easy, right? But yeah, now I'm like kind of hyped for it now, and like I understand why people get excited. It's a great group thing to do, you know. So yeah, I thought it was pretty fun. Good, fun way to spend an hour.
Yeah, and it's funny that like I know I was referencing Saw earlier, but I was actually just reading that. And I forget where, probably somewhere in California, I would assume. But they created an exact replica of the set of the first Saw movie. Like the warehouse and like the room and shit like that, like the butcher, the slaughterhouse or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They created an exact replica of that, and they turned it into like one of those escape rooms. And they had like a grand opening for it recently. And the dude who played Jigsaw in the Saw movies was like at the grand opening and everything, and taking pictures of the people.
Speaking of exact replicas of places that don't really exist, I just read this before the show today, but at South by Southwest here in Austin, in the desert, HBO is actually building a replica of Westworld, the town.
Oh, no.
That's pretty cool.
To go visit. And I'm not even a huge fan of that show. I mean, I've seen a few episodes, and it's really dark and really messed up. And, you know, if I ever had the time, I guess I'd go back and watch it. But just the fact that you can go and visit, like, it makes me want to watch the show, kind of catch up. There's only, like, one season, right?
Yeah.
I think right now, right?
That's like the future sci-fi dystopia one, right?
Yeah. And you don't really know. Like, there's Android. I don't know. There's kind of spoilers to be said in, like, a few words. So
right.
I don't want to say too much. But yeah, that's kind of cool that they're going to build that. And, you know, if HBO's doing it, they don't really skimp on stuff. So it could be really neat. Who knows? South by Southwest here in like a month is going to be crazy. In this time.
You'll have to go there. Let us know, like, if it's worth the hype, you know?
We'll see. The crowds here are unreal. Like, I'm just trying to get to work and back at this point. Here in
just
South
one
by
man.
Southwest. Yeah, so we'll see. I don't know. I don't have tickets for South by, but well, I mean, oh wait, I do for the gaming actually. I do have a wristband for that, so we'll see about that.
Oh, the South by Southwest Gaming Conference?
The interactive part of it. Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe.
shit.
We'll have to see. Just want to let you guys know off the top-ish here that we are going to be doing a Black Panther spoiler cast at the end of this episode. So if you have seen that movie, which chances are you might have, because a lot of people saw that movie this weekend, do stick around after the music. We will have a pretty fun in-depth spoiler cast about it, so that'll be great. For now, though, let's talk about some video games. So I kind of want to kick things off with talking about Bayonetta 2 for the Switch.
Self-serve.
Thanks.
I'm just gonna keep doing that every time.
Okay, so if I remember right, Jack, you own Bayonetta 2 back for the Wii U.
Yes, I played it. I played a lot of it. I have not beat it though, but I definitely have played enough to know that it is one of the best character action games out there. The first one was awesome. Second one just built upon it, and they really just slammed it home, man. That game's sick.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, because I played Bayonetta 1 fairly recently, like within the last year. So that was my first time playing a Bayonetta game. Not my first Platinum game by any means, but first one with a witch that uses her hair to kill things.
Actually do.
Yeah, it's just as expected. And so when I heard, hey, Bayonetta 2's coming out for the Switch, I was like, hell yeah, I'm not going to buy a Wii U to play Bayonetta 2. Might as well pick it up here. Man, that game runs like a dream. 60 FPS, both undocked and docked. Like, that's just, you can't beat that, especially for a character action game, right? And it doesn't fail to deliver. It just, from the get-go, things are just over the top, stupid amounts of action, like that typical, like, this is dumb, this wouldn't happen. It's like that feeling of watching a Fast and Furious movie, but like in video game form, plus superpowers and demons and angels. So not really a Fast and Furious movie, but just that feeling of like, suspend all of your disbelief, because
it's actually the prequel to Tokyo Drift.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
it's about the main character's mom back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, see, I kind of wasn't expecting to see Bayonetta after Bayonetta 2 like 4 years ago, because like it released on pretty much a dead console. Just it felt like it kind of lost its mark.
That was I remember at the time that it was such a weird choice. You know what I mean?
Like, because I'll be honest, well, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that, like, it was such an odd, out of nowhere franchise for Nintendo to pick up and be like, we're gonna make this exclusive and we're making a sequel. And on top of that, I don't know if you guys remember, but I don't know if it was directly through Nintendo, but Platinum or Nintendo or somebody, they actually teamed up with Playboy to have a cosplay like promotional thing done for it. So they had a Playboy bunny dress up as Bayonetta.
That's news to me, man.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was a thing. It was like kind of not really a huge deal at the time, but there was some news sites that were covering it.
You mean this in Europe or Japan? This was not in.
This is. I'm pretty sure this is in the U.S. if I recall right. And I will say, like, it was like tastefully done. It wasn't like nudes or anything like that, but it was like, yeah, there was like a Playboy bunny cosplaying as Bayonetta, and it was.
I'm
really
very
cool.
surprised. It's the first I've heard of this.
Same.
Yeah. But yeah, check it out in your spare time. But it was pretty cool, like how they did it and stuff. Like
it was
costume.
so cool, guys.
Yeah, it was so cool. Oh my god.
Dude, that like the costume was fucking awesome though. It was like to a T, like accurate. It was pretty sweet.
Did the model grow out her hair and then they fashioned her clothes out of her own hair while it was still attached to her head?
Can we please talk about anything else?
Anyways,
okay, but. Yeah, so I'll admit I've played more of Bayonetta as like a character on Smash than I have Bayonetta 2 until like this weekend, right, when I got the game. And just, oh man, it's so fun. It's just over the top action. Like Jack said, it builds on the first one. It's as tight, if not tighter, which I'm kind of a big fan of. And it just feels great to be able to pause it at any point and just like put it down and, I've got to go do this or that and then come back to it and just pick it right back up, like mid cutscene, mid fight, mid whatever. It's a completely pausable game at any time, which is really nice.
Very few games are known for their mechanics, and that's always been my biggest takeaway with Bayonetta. Like, I play that game not for the story, not for the character design, not for the music. Certainly, I don't really like the music, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
It's not my favorite, but I come to the game because it feels so good to play. It's so snappy, it's so responsive. there's so much like to learn, right? And so many abilities to unlock, and so much ass to kick, and it just feels great in the hands, the controller, and it's just tight mechanics. And I can't think of too many games where I come to for the mechanics specifically, like maybe Street Fighter.
Yeah,
Usually when people had asked me about Bayonetta in the past, I usually compare it to Devil May Cry because I think that's the closest experience to it personally.
Yeah, I think with Devil May Cry though, it's more about like just knowing the combos, right? Where it's like with Bayonetta, you're kind of building up to like your bar, and then using it to like launch really cool moves. Like those
right
climaxes they're called.
There's definitely different nuances and stuff, but the whole character-driven like hack and slash idea, and for like in a game that you come to play for like solid mechanics, like Jack was saying, I think Devil May Cry is probably the closest thing to it. Definitely not the same though.
Yeah, because I'll agree. Like the mechanics are definitely the thing keeping me here. I mean, story's interesting enough, I guess. Right.
Yeah.
But it definitely just feels like a backdrop or as an excuse to just say, yeah, we're going to put Bayonetta on the back of a moving vehicle while she's fighting off all of these things, and the vehicle isn't piloted and is about to crash, and now you have to go through this thing where you're jumping from rock to rock to rock in slow motion witch time. You know what I mean?
And
it's
you're
just like
killing angels the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guys at Platinum are just like, okay, so we're gonna have this set piece, that set piece, this set piece, and that set piece, and then they go up to the writers, are like, here, just write some sort of, I don't know, I guess a narrative to this.
Give a reason as to why.
Yeah,
Gobbledygook.
give some sort of reason. Like,
Oh,
and they're
and
just
put
like, fucking
Joe
thanks,
Pesci in
I
it too,
guess.
if you can.
Yeah. Forget about it.
No. Yeah, but I actually still have not played Bayonetta 2. I beat the first game, have not played the second game yet, so I need to play it though.
Yeah.
Bayonetta 2 is one of those sequels, one of those that really, really, really just eclipse the original
Agreed.
in pretty much every facet.
Like I played Bayonetta 1 on Steam, and now I bought Bayonetta 2 physical, so I got like the Bayonetta 1 digital with it on Switch. And I told myself, yeah, I'll probably go back to Bayonetta 1 after I beat Bayonetta 2, but now I'm kind of feeling like, man, I don't know, I might just like play Bayonetta 2 again because it just feels that much better.
And it's so sad it'll never come out on PC.
Yeah, and they've added, I don't remember for sure if this was like in the original game, but Jack, maybe you can help me with this. There's a thing called tag climax. Do you recognize that?
No, I don't remember.
Basically it's two characters. So basically like you have two Bayonettas or like a Bayonetta and a Jean or something. And you can just like do 6 battles in a row. Like you choose which 6 fights you want to do from like presets, and you just get a bunch of halos for it. So basically you just tag team the fights, and whoever deals the most damage wins that fight in a way. And like you get more halos out of it, which is kind of neat. Cause I remember playing the first game and thinking like, it's cool and all that like you can buy weapons and buy abilities and stuff from the shop, but it gets to a point where there's so much to buy and you don't make enough coins your first run through that unless you're playing that game like for time attack, essentially, you're not going to buy everything in the shop. Whereas this tag climax, it gives you like another way to earn currency that kind of feels fun and rewarding still, instead of just, how can I beat this the fastest time? How can I practice my dodges? How can I never get hit and get like, platinum trophies on everything? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. And are you playing in handheld mode much?
I'm doing both, actually. I'm playing both.
How's the frame rate?
60 FPS.
In handheld too?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. I actually bought a new dock so I could like have 2 in the house, which is pretty.
Oh my gosh.
Damn,
big
you
baller.
dropped that fucking,
Bro.
what, $90?
50,
Yes.
well, actually 40, because I got the Nyko dock, which is it's much smaller,
Genius,
so
dude.
it's easier to move.
They could listen, dude. I'm not even kidding. They could have charged like $80 for that dock, and people would still buy it because it's $10 cheaper.
Yeah, it's true. But I
Nintendo would.
got like $40 for a dock, so that's not bad.
No, it's yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'm less
does
impressed
it work
now.
well?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't noticed any problems so far. It's really just the smaller form factor. So like,
is
at
that
first,
the portable one where that it doesn't cover the screen? Is that the one?
Yeah, it's that one.
Okay.
So I was a little worried at first of how well it cradle like the Switch itself, like the tablet itself, while you're like playing, but it actually holds it up pretty well.
Okay.
Like no complaints.
Yeah, I was actually curious about those too because, wait, can you play it while it's charging? Since it's like, can you play it in like say tabletop mode when it's like that?
I don't know. I mean, I think there might be a way to do that, but maybe if you like unplug the HDMI. But I don't know. Every time I've plugged it in, it's been like, oh yeah, like turn on your TV, get ready to play it on your TV.
Okay, yeah, because that's the biggest design flaw about the Switch, and it's well documented by now. But the fact that the USB-C port is on the bottom,
Yeah.
and trying to play in tabletop mode and charging your Switch at the same time is impossible unless you get one of those stands.
Put that on the list of the things that Nintendo's going to fix for the inevitable, like, upgraded Switch, right?
I hope they do that. I think we talked about it on another episode, but I hope they do that. But the thing is about their home consoles is they never did variations of their home consoles. They did do it on their portables though, so it's up it's up in the air. So
this is the hybrid. I fully expect it.
I could see a Switch XL.
I would
Switch
think
XL,
that it would be.
oh my god!
I would think it'd be more powerful too. So maybe
Switch
some
XL,
games might
though,
be
like the
exclusive
screen's
for it.
already pretty damn big for a portable.
Or Switch U.
Oh,
Ooh.
Can we
That's not-
can we not?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's bad.
Just give us the
outta here.
Game Sphere, Nintendo.
Colin, what have you been playing?
So I've been playing a game and a video game in a sense, I guess. So basically, me and my roommates last night, we got into Bloodborne, the card game. Yeah. So basically, and my roommate picked it up for me a while back, and so we always wanted to try it. But basically, the idea is, and I don't want to get too in depth in the mechanics because it can get pretty confusing trying to explain it off the cuff. But basically, the idea is everyone has like their own boards, and you're basically trying to kill monsters in order to get what are called trophies in the game. So with every monster you kill, you gain the specific trophy designated on the monster's card that you kill. And the more trophies you get, the more bonus blood echoes you can get by the end of the game. Because as you kill monsters, you gain blood echoes, which are these little token things. Basically like souls in Dark Souls or blood echoes in Bloodborne. But they're like little tokens that you use they're basically your points. And it's really cool how they like translate stuff from the actual game into the game itself. So like you have like your collected blood echoes section and then your banked blood echoes, and your collected blood echoes you can't put in your banked blood echoes until you go to the hunter's dream. So like at the end of every round you can go to the hunter's dream if you so choose. So yeah.
Interesting.
Right. So I don't want to make this explanation too confusing, but yeah, go ahead and ask me like anything you're curious about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you played the original like the video game version of Bloodborne?
Right. Yes,
okay.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you feel that, like, does it translate well, or do you kind of feel like it feels like another board game with just Bloodborne slapped on it?
No, I mean, they definitely like translate the aesthetic of the game very well. I mean, they literally use like the graphics and the screenshots basically from the game on the cards themselves. And it feels like they really make it feel like the game has been turned into a card game. Obviously, it's not a third person, action game. It's a card game. So They had to make some compromises. But the way they integrate all the different aspects of the video game into a card game is really cool. And they do like a really good job of being very fan servicey in that way. Like all the different weapons you see, like all the different upgrades, all the different bosses are there. So that it's pretty cool. And the gameplay loop itself is like a lot of fun. It's not like one of those things where you play it for a while and it gets really dry, because it opens up. The way the game works opens up to a lot of player deception. So a lot of players can actually team up and try to get other players killed by the boss for their benefit, because the idea is that you want to be the person with the most blood echoes by the end of the game, because that's how you win. So there's a deck of 10 monsters, and then there's a final boss card. And so what you got to do is you got to either work together, or in some cases, obviously, get each other killed. But at the same time, you're trying to get through this deck of 10 monsters. You got to kill them all. Then you get to the final boss, and once you kill the final boss, you tally up all your blood echoes, and whoever has the most blood echoes wins.
So it's technically a competitive game, right? Like every man for himself, every hunter
it's a
for
competitive
himself.
cooperative game,
Right? Because if you don't get to the end, no one wins.
Exactly. And what was crazy, so most every boss card and final boss card has a special effect. And the final boss card has a running effect that changes the rules directly of the entire game. So the final boss card we were playing with last night was Pickle, and his special effect was every time a monster escaped, meaning every time if you play a round and you don't kill a monster within one round and it still has blood echoes left over, aka health, it escapes. Well, every time a monster escapes with Miko Lash on the field, you have to insert another card from the box into the monster deck, essentially prolonging the game.
Yeah. Jesus.
So we were running into a problem where the game was starting to take forever, but eventually we started plowing through the monsters because we ran into a streak where we got a streak of regular bosses, which regular bosses, they don't escape and they stay on the field like every time. So we had to keep like, and those have an insane amount of health. So we were like trying to get through them. It just took forever. But
Yikes.
yeah, so it's really cool. But then there's like another card that's like, oh, hey, if your character dies twice during the course of the game, you are out for like, you're out of the game. You're done. Like that's the effect of one of the bosses. Like, yeah. So like it captures the direness and like the prepare to die part of like Dark Souls and Bloodborne. So that's really cool how they do that.
That is actually kind of neat. Like, there's also a Dark Souls card game, isn't there? Like
there's a
Dark
board
Souls board game. That's it. Yeah.
Which I definitely want to check out after playing this card game. Because if it's anything like this, but like even deeper because it's a board game, I'm so into it. Like it's really cool.
So like 3 to 4 players.
3 to 5 players.
And how long? Like if you sit down and like you start it up, how long does it take?
I think we had a special case since. Well, first of all, you have to also remember we just learned how to play last night. So we had to kind of like waddle our way through the rules since it was the first time. But otherwise, like the actual game itself took probably about an hour and a half just because we drew that one fucking final boss card that made the game longer.
Yeah.
Since we had monsters escaping and we had to constantly put monsters back in. But if we had any other boss, it probably wouldn't have taken near as long.
I mean, hey, that sounds like a fun time though. I actually kind of
Dude,
interested in
is. And like, honestly, it'd be fun as hell to sit down and play that and have a few drinks too.
Yeah. Jack, you still alive? Still kicking?
Yep.
Cool. All right.
Jack's over there like, dude, he's fucking killing me.
God, blood, like fucking Souls game, fucking card games. I hate this.
I was trying to be subtle, but it didn't seem to work.
Let's talk about some news though, shall we? All right, so off the top here, System Shock. Did any of you guys play that back in the day?
I actually, when I first built my first gaming PC, you know, it was complete like way overhead, like so much overhead. Of course, I was playing some old school PC games because I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go back and play Baldur's Gate and the original Fallout and System Shock and all those retro PC games. I played System Shock 2 and it's so fucking hard. Game's brutal, dude. Like you read that shit about how like, because the thing about the game is you get in certain situations where you just get stuck and you have to restart. Like you can fuck yourself over. Yeah. That's just because that's just how the games were made back then. It was true survival like horror games. Like you can drive yourself into a corner.
Yeesh. I've never played it, but after learning that it was kind of like the prequel or the predecessor to BioShock, it made me want to go back. I just haven't yet.
Oh yeah, it's a cool and charming game, even with its old graphics. So I mean, if you can pick it up on a Steam sale or whatever, it's definitely cool.
Yeah. So a while ago, back in 2015 or 2016, I believe, some guys from Night Dive Studio started up a Kickstarter that said, "Hey, we're gonna reboot System Shock. We're gonna remake it from the ground up, and we're gonna do it in."
Now, is this the second one or the OG?
The original System Shock, and these guys are like taking it up and, you know, giving it a whole redesign, basically giving it the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy treatment. And they're building it in Unity, or not, they were building in Unity, now they're building in Unreal, but now they're not building it.
Oh.
Because it's on hiatus.
Did they get caught or something?
Is it what?
They get caught? Like, oh, you don't have the license to this or some shit?
No. They got the license and everything. It's that they raised $1.3 million on Kickstarter, and now they're saying, basically we're making the game, and then we decided, like, we kept doing that thing where it's like, you know, let's add this in, let's add that in, let's add this in, and it became a game that wasn't really System Shock but another game entirely. So they're taking a break to, you know, refocus, think of their vision once again, and focus it back onto making it a System Shock reboot.
Okay.
So there's all your money that you pissed away, Kickstarter backers. That's
Damn.
nice.
Jesus criminy.
That's
Dude,
really garbage.
So, yeah, I can't believe that. Like, it just makes me angry. It just straight up makes me angry. Like,
Yeah.
like it's such a cool idea. Let's take System Shock and remake it, and then $1.3 million is like, wow, that's huge. That's like a big budget for an indie game too. Like,
yeah, I mean, because in game design, right, that's not as much money as you'd think.
no, but I don't. For the sounds of it, it's not. This isn't like some AAA dev, though. You know what I mean? We ain't talking AAA games.
Speaking of AAA, like guys, Star Citizen still has not come out. Like that is like one of the most highly funded, expensive games in the history of mankind.
You can
and
buy
look how many.
like go ahead.
No, you.
You can buy plots of virtual land in Star Citizen.
I don't want to break open a whole can of worms here about Kickstarter, but it's like we need to learn, right? Like we cannot look at this as an exchange, right? This is a business, I guess. It's a way to fund games that might not ever exist, but it's not like I'm giving you my money in exchange for something. There's no guarantee. You need to look at it kind of like a donation, and if you get nothing out of it and you're okay with that, then go ahead and do it. But if you're not okay with potentially getting nothing out of it, then do not use Kickstarter. That's not the platform to use, because they have no obligation whatsoever to deliver what they tell you they're going to deliver when they say they're going to do it. So there's just so many examples. I don't need to go down the list, but so many examples of it just going completely wrong, like really fucking up. People just stealing money outright, just straight up fraud on there. Like, I'm very, very, very gun shy to ever use Kickstarter again. I've just been burnt too many times. Right now, the only thing I'm really waiting on is Shenmue 3, and we'll see how when that ever comes out.
The only thing I'm waiting on is Igarashi's new game. Like that Castlevania new game. That's not Castlevania.
Bloodstained.
Oh, Bloodstained. I forgot that was a thing. Is that coming out this year?
Oh yeah, it's still happening. He did an interview not too long ago, actually with the Happy Council Gamer, but it's like he's been at like they're going to cons and like showing the game off and stuff. Like I
remember it not looking great.
It's well in progress, and apparently it's like development's going really well. It's just taking a while. They're really taking their time with it. It's supposed to be out, like I think they estimated around sometime later this year, like late this year.
Don't be another Mighty Number 9. Don't be another Mighty Number 9.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, I mean it's going out sometime this year, so we'll see.
Oh, sweet.
I will tell you though. So I'll tell you like real quick what my favorite Kickstarter story is. So, so there. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of F&D Films.
No.
Frankendico Films.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, anyway, they're this YouTube channel that kind of like maybe a year or two after YouTube became a platform started making videos, and they just made like stupid little short films that me and my friends thought were fucking hilarious when we were growing up. Like, they were stupid and ridiculous, and like in hindsight, they're not like the funniest things in the world, but there's still some comedy, there's still some good stuff in there. Anyway, they're still doing stuff to this day, and the quality of it has only gone up, and it got to a point where they actually got onto Tosh.0 and shit like that. Like they got some pretty big notoriety. And so like I think 2 or 3 years ago, they put out a Kickstarter to make a movie. They wanted to make a full-blown movie by themselves, right? And so their budget for it was like some $15,000-$20,000. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they asked people, they're like, yeah, just donate and we'll make this movie. And then they're like, okay, guys, like we reached the goal. Like we're going to start filming this movie. And so like a year and a half goes by, and then people start asking like, guys, like what happened to the movie? Like, what the fuck? Like, is this thing going to happen or what? And so like, and I followed their Facebook at the time. So they put out a post on Facebook, like out of the blue one day, and they're like, guys, we're sorry to tell you, like, we've just completely ran out of the budget. Things happened and we got in financial gridlock. We ended up blowing all the money. Like, just straight up, I'm sorry. Like we made a mistake, and we're like, we'll find a way to make it up to you. We'll find a way to get all the money back to you, and blah, blah, blah.
Did they spend it all on hookers and blow?
It's basically what what they were getting at.
Yeah, that's all I know.
So like, dude, like me, like myself included, everyone was fucking pissed. Like, I didn't even back it, but like I was pissed. Like, how the fuck? Like, why would you ever do that? Like, it's just another drop in the bucket, another typical Kickstarter bullshit story.
Like, I'm convinced that Kickstarter is the sole reason the hooker and blow industry are both still up and running and doing very well for themselves.
So so what happened was, so these guys are out of Chicago, and one of the dudes was actually on local news in Chicago, and they interviewed him about like what the fuck happened with all the money, and like dude sitting there, he's like, yeah, like we blew all the money, and like it was just like we were being dumb kids, like we blew all the money, and like I can't apologize enough, like we're so sorry, and we're gonna find a way to make it up to them. And so like 2-3 weeks, a month goes by, and people are still fucking raging. They're getting trashed all over online and everything. And so one day they make a post, and they post a trailer for the fucking movie, and it says, "It's all good." And that's the name of the movie.
What?
And out of nowhere, at the beginning of it, they're like, yeah, we got you, fuckers. We actually made the movie. We spent an entire year filming the movie. We didn't actually fucking blow any of your money. It all went towards the fucking movie. Here's the trailer, you dumbasses.
They were just being total dicks.
And that's how Kung Fury was born.
Dude, they actually made the movie. They were fucking with people the entire time.
Man, fuck those guys.
Okay, here's the thing though: is the movie good?
I I've only seen clips. Like
you
everyone,
backed it and like.
No, I said I didn't back it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But like, yeah, they were fucking with people the entire time. Like, dude, and these guys is fucking like the dude that did the interview on the Chicago like news show and everything. His fucking acting was impeccable. You never would have guessed they actually went through with it.
Yikes,
dude!
What a dick move, dude.
Dude, it was one of the cleverest fucking things I'd ever seen.
wow.
Oh my god.
Next on the news here. Did you guys know that Columbus, Ohio is still the fastest growing city in America? Another trailer for Ready Player One dropped earlier this week.
I hate you so much.
And I remember us expressing not so favorable opinions of that movie after we've seen the first trailer and every subsequent one after this.
Right. You gotta remember that all three of us are basically Columbus natives. So
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, for the most part, we all know Columbus very well, and we're just like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah. I will say this trailer is probably the best one I've seen. It's the one that's most sold me on the idea of purchasing a ticket, not just to hate the movie.
But is it enough?
I don't know if it's enough, because it's still like, okay, it's a little better, but I can still tell you're trying to shill for the video game people with like, hey, look at the Mario Karts, look at the Halo, what are they named? The Spartans in Halo?
The Halos.
The Halo Spartan
look at the
boys.
Halos. And the
Yeah,
Goombas.
look, it's Easter egg the movie with Columbus as a backdrop.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You know what, man? One of my good friends, I'm not going to name him by name. He probably listens to the show, and he'll probably recognize this when I say this, but one of my good friends from way back, I was bringing up how I hated this whole thing, this whole movie. And he said to me something that just made it so much worse. He goes, really? He goes, this looks like something I thought you'd really be into.
Oh my fucking god! To stereotype you any harder.
I like video games, so
yeah,
but you know what I mean. That's the whole thing about it. It's like it's not for, I think, like the enthusiast. You know what I mean? Like the real like adult enthusiasts. It's like for like kids.
Yeah,
like
right.
bring your kids.
And the thing is, here's the thing though, like you can do a movie with a lot of fucking Easter eggs and shit like that, and a lot of fan service, and still make it good. Wreck-It Ralph. Anyone?
It was okay. It was all right.
Wreck-It Ralph's a fun movie. It's good.
But
it told a decent
so
story.
over the top.
But like this, the way this is done is like all the trailers I've seen so far of it, like all the ones we've seen, have just leaned so hard on the idea of it's just like, yeah, it's basically gonna sell tickets because we reference that thing you grew up with, or we reference that game you play. Like, fuck.
The thing is
So
though,
dumb.
like I am a gamer, but I'm definitely not buying the ticket so I can see that couple seconds that Sonic the Hedgehog's gonna run into the film or anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm gonna movie pass it and watch it for free because I want to watch a train wreck. I want to see this movie be terrible so I can laugh at it later.
yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting at.
I mean, I'm not that negative on it. Like, it's not that like I don't want anything really to ever fail unless you're Metal Gear Survive. But
Whoa.
throwing shade. Anyway, but it's just like the way that they're showing off. I don't know if it's just the way they're showing off this film, but I will go see it out of sheer curiosity. More than anything, it's not really so much the video game thing. It's more like I want to see if they actually reference anything real in Columbus, and I want to see what they actually did to make it look like dystopian Columbus, Ohio.
I mean, don't you remember the Columbus Iron Giant? Don't you remember?
We're the Ohio State Iron Giants,
where the
right?
fuck's Brutus? He should be in there. Seriously.
Yeah, fucking Brutus should be in there.
What's the over-under that Brutus is in there, actually? Let's be real here.
He's not a video game character. Why would he be there?
I know. So what year does it take place?
He was in NCAA football, damn it.
Yeah, there you go.
I think it's
what year does this take place?
2048 or something like that. See, I should remember it because it's at that part in the trailer where he says Columbus is the fastest growing city and whatever, and I love that line.
Stop.
But on the screen, it totally says the year. I just don't remember the year because all I remember is the line.
Dude, but here's the thing, like I even scrolling through the YouTube comments on these trailers, it's like, oh look, there's so and so, oh my god, they have Spartans, like I'm totally gonna go best movie ever because it's got Spartans in it. It's like, it's nothing about like, oh, the cinematography looks amazing, or oh wow, this movie looks very compelling and engaging. Like, you know what I mean? It's nothing like that, you know?
Yeah.
People just don't really care about the story, they just care about the references. And to be fair, I mean, it's not a dumb marketing strategy, right? Like, it's not, like, from a marketing standpoint, it's not stupid.
But depends how much that it costs, right, to get all those people, all those properties in there,
right?
And then on what they make. This movie could totally bomb. Steven Spielberg is by no means a guaranteed blockbuster director. Like he's a big name. He brings a lot of clout. Don't get me wrong, but name the last Steven Spielberg movie that like really shook the industry up. I feel like movies have kind of moved on after him. Like ever since he peaked early, ever since Jaws. Yeah, it's kind of been slightly downhill. I mean, don't get me wrong. Saving Private Ryan, E.T., obviously.
2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, that's not Steven Spielberg. What are you talking about?
Fuck, never mind. I don't know movies. Don't listen to me.
2001 is now you made me blank on his name.
Yeah, that was the year when Steven was going by Stanley Kubrick. That was the year when he changed his name to Stanley Kubrick.
God,
Kubrick,
I'm done. I'm
Kubrick
done,
era.
guys.
Yeah.
Then he also made Clockwork Orange and then changed his name back to Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yeah,
it was a weird time.
I couldn't explain it. Yeah.
Rip me. Anyway.
Okay.
What movie am I thinking of? Didn't he make a sci-fi movie?
You're thinking of Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
Yes, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. That's my fault.
Same thing. I cannot let you do that. Same thing.
They're both space movies. Stop.
Oh my gosh.
So speaking of space, actually, this is just a short plug. If you guys have not played Dead Space yet, it's free. Just get it on PC. It's free.
I actually
Wait,
did
the first
click
one?
that button. Yes, I did click that button, and I have fond memories of the first Dead Space. Very fond memories.
We're at EA Origin?
EA Origins, they're on the house thing, so it's free for, who knows how long. They kind of don't really say for their on the house deals. Just get it now. Like, seriously, it's such a good game.
Yeah. Go click a button,
I'll play
man.
Dead Space 1 again. Shit.
Dude, I'll play it on PC. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I have Dead Space 3 on Origin, and I don't know. I heard the third one sucked, but I'm really I'm kind of into the lore in Dead Space. Who knows?
Yeah,
one of
Dead
the first
Space 3 has
games-
more lore in it, I think.
I was just gonna say one of the first games that kind of evolved how UI is communicated.
Oh yeah, it's so cool,
player.
the design on that.
It's pretty novel back then. I don't know, it might be cliche now, but back then it was fucking cool.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm actually, that's so fucking cool. One of my professors was the level designer in Dead Space 1 and 2.
Shameless plug.
It's so fucking cool learning about that shit. But yeah.
Yeah. So if you haven't played it and you're into like survival horror, space alien, creepy monster things,
dissecting zombie aliens limb by limb, this is your game.
Oh yeah, it's so good, so great. Final news story here. The co-founders of Sledgehammer, that third Call of Duty studio, they are currently resigning as co-presidents because they are moving on to some sort of executive duties in Activision. Whatever that means.
So they got promoted then.
Yeah. I mean, in a way. I mean, they're still technically like leaving one workplace for another, technically.
For the parent company.
Yeah.
They're making the jump.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they made Call of Duty boots on the ground. I mean, World War II.
Well, now they've got their boots on Activision's ground.
Yeah, boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground.
Did someone say boots on the ground?
Pants on the ground? Pants on the ground.
Congrats, I guess, to Michael Condrey and Glenn Schofield, but I don't know what that means for Sledgehammer, because apparently World War II is like just okay. I mean, it wasn't that great as far as Call of Duties go.
Yeah, you can kind of tell they
Sledgehammer.
half-assed it. It's almost as if they knew they were going to make a move and didn't care anymore.
Yeah, maybe.
when they
I mean, it
made this
makes-
game.
Sledgehammer.
I mean, it puts us in this place because World War II was just a couple months ago. So whatever the
It was
like,
just a couple months ago, guys. We were in a post-war society. World War II happened.
World War II just happened. Hitler
Yeah.
just died. Welcome.
Go ahead.
No, but yeah, so that game came out only a couple months ago. So whatever the Call of Duty is that they're going to be working on, and like that's going to be released in 2-3 years, they're just starting probably their new dev cycle.
Here's a novel idea. How about no more Call of Duties ever?
That'd be great, but you know how this industry
ain't ever
is.
gonna happen.
I mean, I'm just curious to see if it'll change at all because of this change in like presidents. Who knows? Meh.
You guys ready for Blops 4 on Switch?
I'm excited. Zombies on the go, man.
Fuck off with your zombies, Robert.
When did the
So
first
good.
Call of Duty come out? Do you guys, can somebody look that up real quick? Are we approaching like 20 years of Call of Duty?
Call of Duty 1. I don't want to look it up. I want to see if I remember.
It was like 2001.
I
Look
got
it up, Robert. Don't tell
I
me.
have it. Yeah,
Is
you wanna guess?
Is it? Yeah,
I think it's 2001. Might have been 1999.
No, because it was after Medal of Honor. Which Medal of Honor was it? Which
All right,
was the
let's-
one where you? Anyway, 2003.
I'm saying one.
Hey, one of you's right.
Which
2003.
one? There you go. So we're 15 years of Call of Duty. Before you know it, it's gonna be in its
15
second decade.
years.
Yeah, because Call of Duty 2 was a launch title for 360, which came out in 05. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
God,
It is a weird, awkward teenager right now.
Huh. So it's about
That's
as old
strange.
as all those kids that say they fucked your mom on Xbox
Oh.
Live.
Fine, strapping young lads. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And they put out, I think, more 14 games? How many games have they made?
Am I
Way
googling
too
that
many.
too?
No,
I
no,
just did,
don't. Just way too many. Like,
God.
stop the Call of Duty.
there was like
Okay.
3 different versions of Call of Duty 2. It was like Call of Duty 2 and then Call of Duty 2 Big Red 1 and then Call of Duty 2 Finest Hour or some shit. I don't know.
The last one should be called "We Called It."
Call of Duty. We called it.
Yeah.
We called of dutied
I'm still waiting on Call of Diddy.
with P Diddy.
Yeah.
We're just in the
Call-
background going, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Call of Duty Black Cops.
Like
2.
it's still like a war game. It's like, yeah, we've got to go stop this bombing that's about to happen in the city.
Yeah.
Just P Diddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Call of Duty Call
uh.
of Duty Beverly Hill Cops 3 Party All the Time edition.
All right, let's move on to the final section of our podcast here. Let's move to question of the week. Collin, you want to slap us with that question?
Whoa.
Yeah, so theme of today's question is cookies.
Yes.
Okay, I want to make it a little bit more lighthearted. But okay, so I'm not sure how I'm gonna phrase it. I'm just gonna roll with it. All right. So, would you rather, if you could only pick one for the rest of your life, would you rather a chocolate chip cookie or a style like that, or a sandwich cookie? You can only pick one. The other one is gone for the rest of your life. Sandwich cookie, i.e., Oreos.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like ice cream sandwich cookie.
yeah. That's what I was thinking at first.
No, sandwich cookies, sandwich style cookies, i.e. Oreos.
Okay, so a cookie with filling or a regular cookie?
I guess, yeah, I guess you could say that, yeah.
It's hard.
For me, it's pretty easy. I'd easily go with regular cookies. They're so much more fun, I think.
How so? What's your argument?
I mean, okay, look, for one, they're kind of like disc-shaped cakes where you can put almost anything in them and still call it a cookie, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with the cream filling ones, I mean, they can only get so elaborate. Like, it's much easier to find like gourmet, home-baked, like fancy schmancy chocolate chip cookies. Not often do you go to a restaurant or a bakery or anything and find homemade like Oreo style cookies.
So my counter argument to that though is like you say they get too simple, but Oreos has like a bajillion different fucking flavors.
Yeah, but it's still Oreos. It's not like it's not Grandma Patty making delicious, fancy Oreo cookies. It's still Oreos. It's still the National Biscuit Company.
Okay, so let me ask you this though. So like, if you're rolling with the regular cookie, are you a fan of those chewy Chips Ahoy cookies?
When
Like
I want
the one that are kind of like rubbery.
when
Not
I
a
want
big.
that, I'm fine with that. When that's what I
Okay.
want.
Yeah,
It's
I'm on
happened.
the same. On that
I
same
don't think
boat.
like sometimes the texture rubs me the wrong way.
I get what you're saying. It's like that mass-produced, like a machine clearly.
Oh yeah, it's definitely
Pumped out.
tastes like artificial as hell. Yeah.
It's because of preservatives. It's
Oh,
because
yeah.
it has a shelf life of like a decade or something stupid like that.
But
You
I
know,
mean,
that's
that-
what it is.
Yeah, that's my reasoning though for wanting to stick with regular cookies. Because yeah, you can get like those kind of Chips Ahoy's where it's obviously machine made, but it's also super easy to just probably within that grocery store, if not just go to a local bakery or make it your fucking self, to get nice homemade warm just baked cookies with nice gooey like texture, you know, like that kind
I
of
will
thing.
say, yeah, you can't get that with sandwich cookies because you know what I fucking love is those like instant bake like Toll House cookies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you just toss them on a fucking pan, throw them in the oven for like 20 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, and they're done.
Yep.
And it's like
Sometime-
you get ooey gooey fresh baked cookies.
Sometimes the human body just wants to poison itself. Sometimes
Alcohol.
You know, you just want a Diet Coke. Sometimes you just want a Chips Ahoy. You know it's terrible. It's not even that good, but it's just you gotta do it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, you
But
just got to do it. And then
you just
next
gotta-
thing you know, you're halfway through the pack of Chips Ahoy, and you're like, well, already halfway there. Fuck it.
Well,
Oops.
Yeah, well, that,
Gotta
that
go get,
happened.
go get more milk. Anyway, so what's your side on this, Jack?
So first day in the office, manager. There's a service here that's very popular actually among offices and just in general. It's called Tiff's Treats, and they have a pretty novel service. You get online, you make your order, and within like 45 minutes, they will deliver to your location anywhere in Austin, fresh, hot, out of the oven, steaming cookies.
That's kind of. I mean, it's the same idea as Insomnia cookies, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, they have something like that too. Oh, they're
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, they was here. It was a thing when you lived here.
Oh, I
Jack.
never
I
used
mean,
it. Yeah.
they're geared toward the college students. You know, they're like open till 3 a.m. when you're drunk and on a binge or whatever.
But
you
you
know?
got to have a minimum. I'd assume they're not going to deliver one cookie.
I mean, I've always, if I got them delivered, I always got a dozen cookies. So I felt like
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy one, might as well get 12 because I know I'm gonna eat them.
Same thing with this. Like, there's a minimum involved too. But anyways, white macadamia nut cookies are my favorite cookies on the planet Earth. And so if I had to choose between that or like cream filled, I would definitely go with you, Robert. I'd go regular cookies. It's just, I don't know, man. That's where good living is, right there.
Yeah.
That fresh out the oven smell, nothing beat
mean-
it. Even microwave a cookie, it's still delicious.
Like if we lived in a world where like it was popular to freshly bake sandwich cookies.
How do you?
Then
How do you
maybe,
even do
but-
that though?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't really think of. And actually, hold on, Collin. Is this allowed? You choose regular cookies so you can never get sandwich cookies in your life. But then you take 2 cookies and then you put like icing between them and then just smash them together and make a sandwich cookie.
See, I would never do that, but yeah.
I would never do
mean-
it either, but is that legal?
I suppose so. I didn't think of that.
He's looking
but-
for loopholes where there
Loopholes.
aren't even
Loopholes.
any needs here.
Loopholes.
I mean, I don't know why, but okay.
I mean,
I
I'm
mean,
just-
if you want diabetes,
I mean,
I
if you
mean-
want an ice cream sandwich cookie, that's how you do it.
I
Sure.
mean, there was that time. Do you remember that dark period in American history where people were dipping pieces of or slices of fucking pizza in milk? Remember
What
that
the
bullshit?
fuck?
Do you remember that shit?
Excuse me. That was a
I'm just
thing?
saying. I'm bringing it up like we're talking about who would do that. Like people do weird shit with food. Is my point.
I mean, I
But
did.
yeah.
I mean, it's like dipping your fries in a Frosty at Wendy's.
That's kind of common now.
Yeah, it is.
And it doesn't taste that bad. Like I
It's
would
always
do it
been-
regularly. but
I don't.
not my
I'll
thing.
do it maybe odd time, like and one fry. And like, okay, I did it. Now I know what it tastes like. Like it used to really gross me out, but it's kind of been normalized. It's a weird one though. I agree. I think it's still odd.
It's what's the other one? It's like pickle covered in peanut butter.
Never
Like
heard
a
of
dope
that
pickle
one.
in peanut butter. Yeah, that's
Dude,
a
so
thing.
we know what kind of porn you're into. It sounds
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
the purple pickle.
A purple pig. Hold on.
No. I'm talking about like the eggplant and the emoji. People are like, oh, the purple pickle. Like, that's not what that is.
Oh my god,
That's
is
not
that
what that
seriously? Is that seriously what people have called it?
Yes.
Please. Oh my. Ugh.
We have a title to this episode.
Gross.
Purple pickle.
All right, that should do it for us for this week, I believe.
It's all Robert's fault, everybody. It's all Robert's fault.
It's always my fault. That's what I do. If you enjoyed what we did here, leave us an iTunes review. That'd be wonderful. It'd be great. It'd be awesome. If you don't want to leave us a review, just tell a friend. If you have a friend who has a concert coming up or like a recital or something, interrupt their performance on stage to let them know.
I'm gonna let you finish, but the Tiny Disc podcast.
I'm gonna let you finish. Yeah.
Yeah. So then you also let other people know, which is just a great service in general. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, or anything you want us to read live on this pre-recorded show, you can shoot us an email at tinydiscpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to follow all our social media channels to get any updates from us, they're all listed at tinydisc.com. And that's also where we have all of our previous episodes if you want to check those out as well. Where can we find you guys on the internet?
Collin Amano, aka ___55 on Twitter. And I'd also like to give a shout out to Grandma's Cookies, because Grandma's fresh baked cookies, the way my grandma makes those things, man, they could be a meal in and of themselves. Those motherfuckers have some calories in them. Those motherfuckers are dense. Just saying.
Get swole.
What?
Get swole. Just get swole off cookies.
Oh, I thought you said, I guess wheel, and then just stopped. I was like, why did it stop there?
I guess wheel.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap this shit up. Okay. So at JACCEPEDA on Twitter, Mr. Cepeda.
Very nice. And you can find me at Panoptimist, PINOPTIMIST. So if you are still interested in that Black Panther spoiler cast, stick around. After the music, we'll definitely be back, except for Collin, because he hasn't seen the film yet.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Life happened. I didn't get to see it. I'm sorry. I want to see it. I'm sad. I'm just as upset as you guys are. I'm sorry.
But it's okay. Collin will be joining you guys listening to us on the other side. And if you want to bounce off here because you haven't seen Black Panther and don't want to be spoiled yet, just come back. Just put it on pause. Go watch the film. Come back. It'll be great. Thank you so much for listening to the Tiny Disc podcast. And we'll see you next Thursday if you're not sticking around.
Giant and shaman.
Hey everyone, welcome to our Black Panther spoilercast here at the end of episode 35. Holy hell, what a good movie that was. All right, Jack?
La Pantera Negra están aquí. That's right.
Yes, the
Black Panther
the
was awesome.
Spanish-speaking people.
I was watching, I saw some pictures from people all over the world that were taking selfies right at the movie theater, and one happened to be in Spain, and it said La Pantera Negra. And I was like, that's awesome.
That's cool. That's slick. You know that just means Black Panther in Spanish, right?
I am aware.
Okay, okay. Yeah. No, okay, so this movie was kind of incredible for the weekend in terms of just like money. You know, this movie made huge amounts of dosh for Disney. So over the 4-day weekend, because, Monday was a holiday, 242 million smackaroonies. 242 million.
Yeah, shattering all expectations. People were like projecting like 150, 160 maybe, even 180 I saw like at the high end.
Disney was estimating 235 million actually. They were shooting
worldwide. You're talking about,
worldwide.
right?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, 242 million.
It,
that's actually only in North America.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy. That's what I'm saying. It's like skyrocketed over and above all expectations. It's insane.
Yeah, and now it sits at second biggest box office total for the first 4 days of a film, sitting right in between The Last Jedi, which is third, and then The Force Awakens, which is above it.
And we're talking about like in cinema history, not just like in February, but it did set February records too.
It did, yeah.
Like this is a watershed moment. This is a landmark achievement. And Coogler is going to be like, if they haven't already swiped him up for the sequel, like I can't imagine anyone else doing the sequel.
Same.
Besides him.
And I don't know about you, but usually when I go to movies, I'm not the kind of person that like buys a ticket before, like online or something before going. I usually like just go to the theater and like, oh, okay, I'll buy a ticket.
Yeah.
And that's worked for me for a while. But Black Panther was the first movie in a long time where I've had to like, where I walked in and was like, oh, they're like sold out for not only the show I'm about I want to see, but then the next like 4 or 5 showings after that.
Yeah.
It was like hard to get tickets in a way, which I was like, wow.
It was hard for me to get tickets too. I mean, people were just swiping them up as soon as they went on sale, and so I got some, I think Thursday, and I had to go to like a smaller theater than I normally go to, which is fine. I don't care. I like small theaters, but we had we were kind of cramped, and we're kind of like I had to like play armchair wars with the person next to me, so that was an interesting,
it's exciting
component of the movie theater experience as well. But it was worth it, man. It was worth it. It was a really incredible movie. I don't really know what to say. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. I just loved it. It was even better than I thought it was going to be. And I just never seen a movie like this before. I really haven't.
Same. And in terms of just like Marvel Comics, I actually didn't know much about Black Panther until I saw the movie. Like, to me, Black Panther is just one of those characters where I've always known, like, okay, I know he's like important in terms of just how Marvel works, but like the Marvel universe works. But, I don't know him as much as I know like Wolverine or Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's been absent from just like the main lexicon, right, of Marvel superheroes. At least when I was growing up, like you didn't really like look forward to playing Black Panther in like the Marvel vs. Capcom games or anything like that. Like,
was he in those?
He's just kind of absent. No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't in the lexicon. Like he just was a non-factor. And until Civil War came out, then I was like, oh, I guess I wasn't even that excited about him then. It's like I guess there's Black Panther. Okay, someone will be pumped, but the movie speaks for itself.
Yeah, now I'm hella excited to see him in Infinite War.
Now I'm starting to like question like maybe I should be really hyped for Marvel movies now, because after Spider-Man, after Thor Ragnarok, and now this, it's like they're on a tear now. Like these are some really entertaining movies in a lot of different ways, and they're all different. Yeah, they're all 3 completely different movies.
It's kind of bringing me back because I've been saying like Marvel movies for me are kind of like I haven't like I don't make a point to see every Marvel movie that comes out. I to this day have still not seen Civil War, but.
You don't need to. It's not that good.
Yeah, but these past 3,
I would say if you're going to watch Iron Man. No, you're right.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen the Iron Man trilogy. So
the first Iron Man is still awesome.
Oh, yeah. But no, so Black Panther, like at its core, yes, it's still a superhero movie, right? Like if someone hates superhero movies, I think it'd be kind of hard to still sell them on this. Mm-hmm. But it does it so well. And it somehow still feels kind of fresh, even though it's kind of a similar formula, I think.
Yeah. It is formulaic.
Yeah. And in terms of like, here's his origin story. And then, here's introduction to the bad guy. The main character somehow falls or loses status. And then the bad guy gets stronger. And then the good guy makes a sweeping return and beats the bad guy. Like, in terms of that, it's still the same, right?
Right. Yeah, I also was, the movie was just getting so hyped up, like leading up to the release, that I was going on media blackout. I was like, I don't want to know anymore. Like, I already know I want to watch it. Like, just leave me alone here. I was even hearing rumblings of Michael B. Jordan being compared to Heath Ledger's Joker. And I was like, okay, whoa, slow your roll here. Like, those are some huge shoes to fill. Like, no, let me wait to pass judgment. And can we just stop doing that, please? Because I think he did a great job as Eric Killmonger. I think he's a very layered, nuanced villain, like some of the best villains in the world, or some that you sympathize with, on some level. And but come on, he's not like Heath Ledger as the Joker in Dark Knight. Like, it's not. Let's just dial that back here, okay? Don't go in expecting that kind of performance. But it still was awesome. I mean, the movie was very emotional, much more emotional than I was expecting. Mm-hmm. And it was just really good. I don't know. Where do we start?
Man, I mean, do you just want to go through the story, or?
I kind of want to hear. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a synopsis in front of me or anything like that. But yeah, I mean, there's like some really funny parts to it I want to talk about. There's some really like surprising parts. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what I will say is, I liked the amount of humor that was in the movie, because this could have been a very dark film, right? I mean, because just in terms of like the themes that it touches upon and just, the things that happen, it could have just been like a hard-hitting, super serious film. But they had just the right amount of jokes where it didn't feel like, oh, this is Spider-Man, right? It didn't feel like a jokey film, but it was enough to just kind of lighten the mood when you needed it. I think of the scenes, like pretty much any scene with T'Challa's sister, I'm
Right.
forgetting her name right now. Shuri. Whenever she's in it,
Right.
it's just like it's always funny, you know, like her flipping him off as she walks away, or like, you know, her like saying, hey, so this suit like records all your kinetic energy, so why don't you hit it again? And then she like pulls up the video recorder and like, you know, that whole like it was just very fun, you know.
No, it was very lighthearted, you know, when it needed to be, and that I definitely appreciated it. You know, you kind of come to expect a movie to be entertaining in a certain way, you know, following that Marvel formula, but this one kind of carved its own niche in so many ways, and not only the humor, but like from a technical point of view as well, like the costumes, man.
Yes.
The costumes were fucking impressive, like seriously, like Oscar worthy, and the makeup and the music. I mean, just right, like every component of this is almost like 10 out of 10. Like I don't know how else I'd improve it.
Yeah, I see. For me, when I walked into the film, I knew it probably wouldn't be a soundtrack that I'd love, just because I don't, you know, like rap and hip hop as much, just in general. That's like not in my repertoire. But I walked out of that movie thinking more about the soundtrack than I thought I would.
I totally went and listened to the soundtrack, and I was actually like sad because the whole soundtrack's on Tidal, my streaming service of choice.
It's also on Spotify. Fun fact.
Yes, and I'm sure it's on a bunch of things, but I was sad that the OST isn't on Tidal. I was like, man, I really want to listen to like the drums because there's just some straight good workout music there. You know what I mean?
That's what I was like kind of disappointed with when I tried to listen to the album on Spotify. I was like, man, I just want the drum tracks. That's kind of what I'm feeling. You know,
Yeah,
not that
beats.
the songs on the album are all bad. It's just like it didn't quite fill that what I was looking for, you know?
Kendrick Lamar had a major hand in the soundtrack. He like procured and picked and wrote songs for this movie. It's almost like a Kendrick Lamar album in a way, you know, like all the songs, all the tracks that are not his own, he picked to be on. So he was in charge of that. So that's why it kind of feels like an album when you listen to it beginning to end. I think that was the intent. But yeah, I don't know. Do you want to just like go through the story, or what do you want to do?
I think let's start off with this question. What if you had to pick a moment or maybe two moments that stand out to you even right now, what would you say those are?
Some of my favorite moments. I think that's interesting that they actually were able to just 2 months after the Star Wars movie came out, they're like, no, this is how you do a casino scene and a action scene afterwards. You know what I mean? It's like it made this one in Star Wars Last Jedi seem so trivial and so stupid. Like even more so, I was like, oh my gosh, when they went to South Korea,
yes,
that was so awesome. They actually were in Busan too.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and that whole scene and that whole sequence, it was so tense and action-packed and awesome. And there's just so many like fist-pumping moments. That was one of the highlights for me, was the chase scene after the casino scene. All of it, like that whole like 15-minute chunk was so badass. And I would totally go back and just watch just that part. It was so cool, man. So the special effects, the way that his suit kind of charges up and then he can like release it, like that's pretty badass. That's kind of a unique superhero power to have. That was a standout moment for me. One of them.
Yeah. For me, moments that I think stick to me a lot is whenever Chadwick Boseman, who plays T'Challa, Black Panther, the moments when he like yells, and it's so deafening, and there are only like two moments I think in the film where he does it, but they just have such high impact. Like, do you remember when he's talking to Zuri, that shaman, and asking like what really happened on that day when my dad caught my uncle like stealing, right?
Oh, that was so that was so emotional, man.
Yeah, and Zuri was like, I swore to the king I wouldn't tell you, and Chadwick's like, I am your king now. You know, like that moment, he was just like, just the way he said it and just how deafening it was. And then just everything went quiet after that second,
like,
you know, and it was just like, oh shit, you know?
Yeah, man.
And there's another one when he goes under again, and, you know, he's talking to his dad in the dream world, and his dad's like, now you can join us. And, you know, he's like, but no, like, why have you stayed secret? Why have you stayed isolated? And,
right.
you know, the dad was like, because it was the way to do it. And then he was like, well, you were all wrong. And, you know, I don't know. Chadwick fucking nailed it for that. Just T'Challa as a whole character.
Was like born to play this role. Yeah. Like, this is one of those movies. Like, I will say, listen, you know me and Dark Knight. And I think that comparisons to this and Dark Knight may be premature, but the sequel to this movie might totally be, you know, if they keep going in this trajectory, the next Black Panther movie could totally be in the same conversation as Dark Knight, I feel, after seeing this whole film. But totally forgot where I was going with that.
I don't know. Chadwick's really good. Chadwick's really good.
Okay. Here's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say that the actor that played Batman in Dark Knight, he was good, but he wasn't like born to play that role. Whereas I feel like Chadwick Boseman completely embodies Black Panther, and I could never imagine a world where another actor played Black Panther now.
I agree.
After this, like
100%.
this is his completely. I mean, did you see the cover of Rolling Stone? Did you see the cover of Time Magazine? Like this is completely like is going to be his legacy. Him and Ryan Coogler, the director.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, okay, so something else I kind of wanted to touch on is you briefly mentioned the special effects in this film, but they were really, really good in this film. Like, they blew me away with how good they were. Just like the whole suit is so cool and how it like just forms over their bodies. Like the mask just kind of appears, right? Like just everything about how that was done was really nice.
Even seeing Wakanda, like when they would go through the mountain and like through the force field, that was really convincing too.
Right. And
I mean, yeah.
And I think the place where the special effects mean the most to me is that final fight, right, between Killmonger and Black Panther, when, you know, like that clenching moment is when T'Challa stabs Killmonger through the part in the suit where it just didn't quite reform. You know, like the suit was just forming back up after those like the things that negate adamantium. Like it was just about to seal up that hole, but then like he puts the knife through there, and just like the way the effects looked there and like conveyed that moment that's taking me like 30 seconds to explain it was just amazing.
And also, like, obviously we're in a video game, so I always think about video games as well. Like, what a missed opportunity. Can you imagine if Rocksteady had like a legit, you know, like semi-open world game like
Black
based
Panther?
on this shit? Like that, that would have been awesome if like a good studio did it. Like, I just feel like they always do those tie-ins just to kind of cash in when a movie comes out. Like, what a lost opportunity here, because this is like literally one of the biggest movies of all time, one of the biggest premieres. I know next weekend's gonna be strong. Don't ask me why. I just know. Like, drop off is going to be minimal. Yeah. You know, like you saw it multiple times, and I totally would see this again.
Like, I want to buy the Blu-ray already. Like, I want it right now.
Yeah. I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to watch this on the OLED. Like, this is going to look sweet. Like, I am really hyped for the movie. And it's because everyone is just executing on an elite level, at an elite level. Like, Forrest Whitaker, like, I mean, Angela Bassett, like... You know what I mean? There's just so much star power in this. Lupita Nyong'o, like Daniel Kaluuya,
Martin Freeman, who did a pretty good American accent.
Yeah, that was kind of weird though, seeing him speak. Now, you know what? I didn't realize it until you just said that, but I was like, oh, that's what was off about that guy. He was an American.
I will say the power of him in the film, right, where it hit me multiple times that he was pretty much the only white guy in the film. The only white guy who was like a main character.
He had a cool moment at the end too in the finale.
Yeah, but it's just like when that hit me that like, oh, that's what it's like, huh? You know?
Oh, I get where you're going with this now. That's I never even thought about that. Wow. Yeah, like, oh, there's only one of them. That's funny. That's how it is, I guess, right? I guess that answers your question.
I mean, there's Andy Serkis, right? But I mean, he was like a minor villain kind of, because, you know, spoilers, right? He dies halfway through.
Right. He was having some fun in that film, in that role. Like, he was, I know him mainly as Caesar in Planet of the Apes. But to see him like as a bad guy, like, he's a pretty scary, intimidating bad guy. I wouldn't want him in my face.
Like,
right. You know,
I loved his character though. I loved.
Yeah,
like, I made it rain. Did you see that? That was fun.
And then he was having a blast. And then when he pulls out the vibranium like out of his pants and it says "fragile" in the
and
bag,
then he just
like,
slams it on the desk though.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's just so much to talk about with this film. We're kind of all over the place in our conversation, but
a little bit.
I think that Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger, you know, like, his backstory was very interesting, and the fact that he would scar himself for every kill, like, that was a cool explanation for why his skin looked like that. I don't know, man. I just love the film. I recommend it. You know, obviously I'm not a member of the community that would, you know, be able to speak more on like the social and civil aspects behind this, but regardless of that, I just enjoy it as a great film. I just think this is just a great superhero movie, one of the best Marvel movies ever made, and definitely I think in the conversation for being the best. I don't think I don't think it's like so crazy to maybe suggest that it's better than the Avengers or better than Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, I would entertain that conversation.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best Marvel movies I've seen. Granted, I haven't seen all of them, but it's up there.
Yeah. So
something I did want to say though, just because again, I also am not a member of the community that this like in terms of social status, what this movie's about. But what I do really appreciate is that it so seamlessly, it feels like, melds the world of like, Africa proper, like natives of Africa, and then also African Americans and just like, Africans abroad basically, and how they're being oppressed, right? I think it melds those two worlds together in such a way where it kind of makes you think about things in a way that you wouldn't normally think about. And I mean, that kind of the film just kind of leaves you thinking in a lot of ways, which I really appreciate for being a superhero film.
Yeah, absolutely. And it leaves you thinking because the acting again is like so superb, like in this, the interactions between, and the character development as well, but the interactions between T'Challa and Eric, the interactions that both of them have with each other's respective fathers, like all that dialogue, it just gets so deep. The relationship he has with his sister again, and with his ex-girlfriend, and just everything. Like the movie is really tied together by the interactions that the characters having, and with the believability, and their acting sells it, man. And that's why I feel like so kind of like, I feel like this movie was just so much more emotional, and so it had so much more weight behind every word that was spoken in a way, because it was just so incredible. And then again, the costumes, the music, and the directing and the editing was all just kind of like icing on the cake. Like, director just kind of had to sit back and just not get in the way of like what these actors were putting to film, and then he's smart enough to know not to do that. I mean, wow, I'm just like really like blown away by the whole thing. I cannot wait. I am like genuinely like really, really, really excited for the sequel to this movie. Like, I want it now. Obviously, I want it to be good, and it'll probably be 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
But I'm like super, super excited. Like, who knows what's going to happen during Infinity War now?
Yeah. True.
Did you stay for the after credit sequences? I assume you did.
I did want to talk about those. I don't know if there was anything you wanted to talk about from like the film proper. Anything else? I mean,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, we kind of just like danced around everything. We did. I guess it's not necessarily a spoiler cast because we're just kind of talking about whatever. But I would just say, if you've seen the film, if you're listening to this, hopefully, and if you haven't, like, you already know what I'm going to say. Like, I'm going to watch it again, and you saw it twice.
Yes, and I might see it a third.
Yeah, it's just a great piece of film, man. I don't know. I don't even really think of it. I mean, yeah, it's a superhero movie and there's action and everything, but I just really kind of treasure like the acting in it is the absolute like reason why I love this film so much. So
yeah, there are 2 things I kind of wanted to point out about the film proper before we go to the end credit scene. So for one, I didn't know Daniel Kaluuya was in this film until like, oh shit, that's Daniel Kaluuya. That's the Get Out guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, I don't get me wrong, he performed very well in Black Panther, but he also performed very well in Get Out. So anytime I saw him like stare at someone where he has his face kind of down and kind of looking up with like big eyes, I'm just like, what's wrong? Are you in the sunken place again? Are you all right?
Oh no. Yeah.
And I know that's bad, right? Because that's kind of like, saying that he's only that character now, but there's just something about the way he looks with his eyes, it's just very
it's hard it's hard to separate it. Like, if you see Luke Skywalker playing a different movie, he's always Luke Skywalker to you, so I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
And another thing that stuck with me is that at the end when Killmonger dies, you will like right before he dies, right before he pulls that dagger out of his like chest,
Man.
that line he says, I can't remember it like, word for word, but it's like, bury me in the sea where all my ancestors are, because they knew that death was a kinder end than bondage.
Yeah, dude, that was rough.
Yeah, that was heavy.
That was rough, man. And, all right, so you just reminded me of like one thing that I didn't like so much about the film. I didn't particularly care for when you had a CG Black Panther fighting a CG Killmonger. Like that last final battle, like near the train. Like that was a little too fakey for me when they were like falling and doing the Gandalf and the Balrog battle like through the air. I don't know if you get that reference or not.
Not really. I didn't see Loader, but yeah.
Right, but it was just like that, and I was like, okay, so this is just we're watching CG now.
Oh,
And-
so you mean the part where they're just like falling straight down and there's like no music playing? And you just hear like thud, thud. Punch,
yeah,
snap,
it just
punch.
was too fake looking. It just wasn't real enough for me. So that was one thing that I would criticize.
I don't know.
But again, so little. Like it's a non-issue.
Like that scene
I'm just
kind of
reaching
makes
for
me.
something.
It makes me giggle because like I saw the movie twice. The first time I was thinking in my head like, I mean, it's cool and all that they're finally fighting and they're like super powered forms, but it's kind of awkward. They're just free falling, no music, just punching each other.
No
whatever.
regard for their own safety.
Yeah, and then the second time around, I was like, well, I know this is about to happen. And then I hear someone in the theater just laughing their ass off because it's happening. And I'm like, okay, good. So I'm not the only one that thinks this is kind of weird.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was. I don't really have much more to say than I've already said. It was just such a great film. I feel like I need to see it again to like fully digest like what actually happened.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I just kind of let the film wash over me like one time, and it was like, whoa. I haven't felt like this about a movie since like maybe Avatar.
The Last Airbender?
No. I knew you were gonna do that. James Cameron's Avatar. It was really the last time I like got out of a movie like, whoa, I'm back in the real world now. Like I was in another place, right? I was not in a movie theater just now. I was like transported to this new land.
You were in Wakanda.
I was in Wakanda. I want to go back, man. Have you heard that they're talking about this now, like legit, like Congo, like apparently has like 2/3 of the world's cobalt supply, and cobalt is a key ingredient in lithium ion batteries, and with all the electric cars and with Apple and everything, Apple now is trying to invest in the Congo and buy it directly from miners, the cobalt. They don't want to go through middlemen or anything like that. So what Wakanda and vibranium is not so fictitious now with Congo and cobalt. Like they're going to, by the year 2025, I saw a chart, like they're going to be raking in, billions and billions and billions of dollars in cobalt purchases for lithium ion batteries, unless some, weird technology happens that, who can predict, but like it's projected to be a very rich nation coming up. So that's like crazy.
Does that mean the king of Congo will eventually become the Cobalt Panther?
My brain just melted. I have no words.
A panther suit made of cobalt? Probably not bulletproof, but
we'll see. But man, what a film. I hope that it, around, I guess what would it be, Oscar time next year, right? I really think like the original score, and I really think the costumes at the very least, and maybe even like screenwriting as well. But I definitely am not taking this lightly when I say like there are some Oscar categories that this movie would absolutely fit in, and I just hope we don't forget that when it comes around to Oscar nominee season next year. I
agree. Do you wanna? I mean, I assume you stuck around for the extra credit scenes because you're not a plebe. You fucking seen a Marvel film.
Yeah, I know my way around these movies. Yeah, so I watched them both. Mm-hmm.
All right, so
and that was cool too, man. The UN sequence.
Yes. Okay.
Was dressing you in. That was awesome.
Yeah, I think that was really great because I think a lot of what he said there, I think a lot of people are probably going to quote it and like use it in social media right now. But I mean, it has its place in the world right now. Like especially that one line. What's it? The foolish build walls while the wise build bridges, I believe is the line. Like that was right. That was pretty good. I don't know. I feel like it fits a lot just in today's climate and culture, if we're putting it lightly.
Yeah, completely. No, that was very apt, and it was a great end. It just is very thought provoking, and it makes you think about things, reflect on things. So yeah, like all good movies should do.
Agreed.
Kind of holds a mirror up to society and is like, look at yourself, you fucking monsters.
Yeah, look at it. Just look at it.
Yeah. And then the second sequence was kind of a non-thing. Like you tie in Bucky, that he's at Wakanda and he's getting like healed or whatever.
Yeah,
I guess that's gonna play its part in Infinity War. I don't know.
See, because I know of Bucky. I just have never seen him in a movie. So
he's in the Captain America storyline.
Yeah, exactly. And I haven't seen any of the Captain America movies because I still think he's a jackwagon of a hero. But so when that scene started playing and then you see Bucky emerge from the tent, everyone else was like, oh my God. And I was like, what's happening? What's going on?
Whenever they reboot the Marvel MCU, because you know it's going to happen in like 10 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Whenever they just completely reboot it, like make Captain America black and watch people's minds melt and just. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, there's that scene in the trailer for Infinity War where they're showing them all running towards the camera. It's like, we're gonna, you know, save the world. And with Black Panther in it now, like towards the front, it's just so much more like heavy now. It's like, oh
Yeah, it's pretty
like
cool.
Black Panther is kind of like taking over for me, like kind of like Batman, because there's no good Batman movies now, you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, oh my gosh, he's like kind of the new Batman. So that's it, man.
All right. I've
those
got
are my
no
thoughts.
other words.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess I'd like to discuss the storyline at some point with you, maybe just off air. But you know, if you guys have any thoughts or any questions or anything like that, you know, you got our email. So
Yeah, for sure. And if for some reason you sat through all this and you haven't seen Black Panther, you just go watch it. It's so worth it. Even if you don't have Movie Pass like Jack and you can't watch it for free, go watch it.
Just if you're a fan of film at all, it's like this is seriously one of the biggest releases in our life so far. You know, in cinema history. Like this is like that level of a movie.
Yeah, like definitely believe the hype. It's a great movie.
Oh, it is totally deserved. Yeah, I don't think the movie's overhyped at all. No.
Yeah, it's got the right amount of like, you know, action scenes if you're into that, but then it's got a lot of like dramatic, you know, tense moments between characters. Definitely like good character building. It's got a lot of everything, and I don't know. I'm gonna see it a third time. I'm willing to bet, if I know me.
My personal Black Panther in my house is going crazy right now. I don't know if you might be able to hear her meowing, but that's probably a sign that I need to go. So.
Yes. All right. Let's cut it off here, though. Thank you for listening to our Tiny Disc Big Spoiler cast here on the Black Panther, and I don't really know what movie or what game we'll do it on next, but we'll see it when it happens.
Bye.